Welcome, those of you who are joining our webinar today. Thank you so much. We'll give it just a second as a few more people come in. And I'll start without introductions yet and just tell you that my personal connection with coaching is that the hiring committee that hired me required that I seek out a coach. And so by chance, back in 2019, I did a little searching and found out that the ELCA had a coaching network and got connected with one of our presenters today who found a really great coach for me. And coaching for me really threw me outside of my comfort zone. I am a fixer by nature, and so I wanted a fixer. I wanted somebody to come in and say, this is how you should lead, and these are the choices you should make, and this is how, this is the right way to do something. And my coach, Charlie, basically did none of that. And he kept saying, well, what do you feel most comfortable doing? What do you think would be the right choice? And he kept asking me these really hard questions. And it was so wonderful. And I just really developed a close relationship with Charlie. Only one time, and we won't mention it to anybody else, did he go off of his coaching, protocol and say, I want to recommend a book for you, Corey. And that was wonderful. I still have the book, and I still am connected somewhat to Charlie, and I've suggested that other people seek out his coaching, and they have, and they've been very happy. And so I can't say enough for the coaching network. And so I'll go ahead and introduce Jill Beverlin and Jason O'Neill. Jill is the executive director, the program director. What is your title, Jill? Your titles are hard for me.
Right. And they're changing yet again.
Oh, good.
Today it is program manager, but by the
Okay.
end of the month, it will be director of coaching for the ELCA. I was informed of a title change that's coming. You all are privy to state secrets.
Right.
State secrets, friends. And it's on recording. There it is.
And huge congratulations then for,
What?
your new position.
Thank you.
And Jason O'Neill, tell me your today's title.
That's a good question too. Jill calls me wizard, but I think it's senior admin support or something.
etc.
Yeah, yes, and all duties as assigned.
Yes, that's wonderful. Well, I am, as you might be able to tell, not driving, but in a car. And so I'm going to turn it over to Jill and Jason to tell you more about the coaching network and more about the opportunities that exist for our school leaders and pastors of congregations with schools and centers. And I'm going to turn my camera off so that you don't get any feedback from my background and my internet. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here. But Jill and Jason, so much for presenting today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Corey, for inviting us into this space. And it's really fun to remember that day that you called me. I happened to not be in my regular office. I was at home, sitting on my deck with my flowers in the sunshine, and I just had the best conversation with you. And it was the beginning of this beautiful journey of accompaniment, both with one another and of our ministries walking together. So something really sacred and special was born in that moment, and I'm just grateful for that and our friendship that's developed too, and just want to name that publicly in this space. Also to reinforce that Jason really is a wizard. He just did not come in his full dress today, and I also want to publicly name that our ministry friends would not go forward if it wasn't for the gifts, the expertise, the wisdom that Jason brings to the space. So just eternally grateful for my colleague, my friend. And I hope that each of you have people like that in your lives who you work with as well. So with that, friends, Jason, do you want to say anything else as a word of welcome before I jump in? Because I do want us to introduce ourselves, but I'm going to share my screen first and get us rolling on that, because if I get off script, friends, we'll be here for 5 hours. So I will do my best to not do that to us. We will keep this within the hour. So again, thank you for the privilege of joining you today. It's really our pleasure to give you a glimpse of ELCA's coaching ministry and to talk about the benefits of coaching and what might be possible for you as a leader to access this ministry to help you develop what you do in your workspace and also the ministry that you oversee. So with that, I also would like to say that one of the things that is sacred in our ministry is that we are a partner in the truth and healing movement of the ELCA. If you are not familiar with this movement, Jason will put in the chat right now a link to that so you can learn more about that. But as such, it's become my practice to offer a land acknowledgement as part of any welcome that I do. And with that, I want you to know that I'm talking to you from my home in Appleton, Wisconsin. And that shot is a view out my window. You can see the screen of my window. In fact, I didn't realize that with that picture, but blown up big and large there in my PowerPoint, I can see my screen. And friends, this beautiful area in which I live on the Fox River is the ancestral territory of 5 nations of Native Indigenous peoples: the Menominee tribe, the Ho-Chunk Winnebago tribe, the Potawatomi tribe, the Oneida tribe, and the Stockbridge-Munsee Band of Mohicans and the Brothertown community. I honor and respect the diverse Indigenous peoples connected to this territory on which I live. So even though Jason and I serve the Chicago office of the ELCA, we both live and work remotely. And when it's Jason's turn to talk, he can let you know a little bit more about where he lives. So friends, our ministry is founded in relationship. And because of that, I want to take a second to stop sharing and look at your beautiful faces. And I would like to invite you to share your name, the context where you serve. And because we're a small enough group, I also want to add, what's one thing that you hope to learn out of the presentation today? And so with that, I invite friend Linda to please share. And you are muted. You're automatically muted when you come into the space, I think. I still see your mute on, dear.
Okay, you good?
There we go.
All right. Hi, my name is Linda Willoughby, and I'm the church administrator with Cross of Hope Lutheran Church and School. We have a preschool and an elementary school. The preschool is for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. And then our elementary school runs from kindergarten through 5th grade. This year we have around a total of 96 enrollees. And we have a staff of about 18. Total staff during the week is about 21, 22. And a lot of volunteers. So basically, I work with the church and school with a lot of the administrative things that are entailed. So communication is really communication and what we can learn to help improve our daily life with the school and the resources that we have with the staff as well, to make everybody do the best they can, and so that we're well adjusted in the environment.
Excellent. I hope that you aren't disappointed, Linda, because what you're naming aligns very strongly with our values and our mission in coaching is to help everyone live into their God-given potential. And just by definition of that helps things run well. So stick with me, friend. I think you're going to hear some things you like.
Right.
Excellent. Thank you. Jen, how about you?
There we go. I'm Jennifer S. I am the preschool director at Our Savior's Lutheran Church in Arlington, Washington. We are a church, we are a preschool, and we are a child care center. We have all here. We have, and we've been here for almost 40 years now. So yeah, and kind of just for me, I like to brag a little bit. My grandpa was the pastor here when he started the preschool and the childcare when he saw a need in the community. And it's kind of fun now that his granddaughter is continuing with the work he started. So that's kind of fun. I'm hoping to get out. We've had some periods where the communication between the 3 programs has kind of fallen short. And so just how we can work together to make sure that the needs of the childcare are being met, the needs of the preschool are being met, and the needs of the church are being met, and how we work to, foster those relationships and still be the best programs we can be.
Excellent. I love that emphasis on communication. I hear in your story, Jen, the deep need to really listen to one another. And layered on top of that is the accountability of the things that we commit to, and how do we make sure that those things are followed through on. Coaching is all about that. I'm so excited for you to be in this space and to hear more about how you can connect with this ministry, this skill, to help you meet those goals. So again, so grateful that you are here.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that, Deb and person alongside Deb.
Bechtel, and this is Pastor Jason Fugate. So I am the preschool director. I've been here 16 years, and this is also my church. And Pastor Jason is our youth and family minister. And so this is his second year.
That's right. Just finished seminary. So nice and fresh, and really excited to be working with such an awesome preschool director.
Well, thanks. We do enjoy working together. And for me, I think, and I invited Pastor Jason because we're always trying to work together to build our programs to work together, because we've been kind of separate, the church and the preschool, over the years. And we want to learn more about how can we work better together to improve our program. That is awesome.
Absolutely. Support one another and really grow, in the same way. So.
Excellent. So you are reminding me of something that I don't have included in our PowerPoint, so I'll name it out loud now. We have coaches that have trained specifically in working with teams and groups. So remember that. And at the end of this, we do have an opportunity for you to look at the link that Corey has put together, where you all as leaders in education can access coaching. And so remember to ask for that specifically if you're wanting to work together as a team with a coach. Yeah, excellent, excellent. So glad that you are here. Jason, I would love for you to go ahead and unmute and say a little bit more about yourself, please.
Yeah, my name is Jason O'Neill, currently based in Colorado in the US. I've served the Northern Texas, Northern Louisiana Synod for a while, and just wrapped up that role this summer. Can't remember what month. And I've been working part-time with the coaching ministry since 2018. I think that's right. I also do a lot of coaching on the side initially, and then that's become a bigger part of my work. I've been coaching formally for a little more than 11 years, so I really love this work, and especially what it can do for faith leaders.
Excellent. And Jason is so humble. I don't think that he named that he's actually one of our trainers in the ELCA. So he does coach training for us. And one of his deep gifts is in the area. He's a professional grief, loss, and transition coach, and does excellent work in that area. So at any point, if you are facing something in that arena, Jason is a good person to connect with. All right, and Corey, thank you so much for putting in the space. Corey says, I'm so inspired by the hopes and dreams of our participants. And Corey, I am as well. That is an excellent thing. So with that, I'm going to reshare my screen and we are going to continue on. So ELCA Coaching Ministry is faith-based coaching. And so with that, I want to offer just a time for us to center ourselves before we go any further. And so as I read these words from the prophet Isaiah, the 43rd chapter, I invite you to hear them as if they are meant specifically for you. A reading from Isaiah. But now, O Jacob, listen to the Lord who created you. O Israel, the one who formed you says, do not be afraid, for I have ransomed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you go through deep waters, I will be with you. When you go through rivers of difficulty, you will not drown. When you walk through the fire of oppression, you will not be burned up. The flames will not consume you, for I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I gave Egypt as a ransom for your freedom. I gave Ethiopia and Seba in your place. Others were given in exchange for you. I traded their lives for yours because you are precious to me. You are honored, and I love you. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Here ends the reading. So friends, this may not be fair. I don't know how much you come to the table knowing about coaching, but just as a quick way of unpacking, what do you hear that in this particular text that might relate to coaching? Feel free to go ahead and unmute and share.
God is with us at all times, and He's backing us up.
Absolutely. And Linda, I'm so glad that you named that. In ELCA Coaching Ministry, we acknowledge that in every coaching conversation, there really are three persons if it's one-to-one coaching, because it's the coach, the leader being coached, and we also acknowledge that the Holy Spirit journeys with us and guides those conversations. Thank you for naming that. Anything else? Jason, what's something that you would point to from this text?
For I am with you.
For I am with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hearing.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was saying, think about how we accompany each other.
Absolutely. This ministry is all about accompaniment. And to build on that, I will also name that it really matters that you have that partner that's walking with you when you're facing all of these things. And that's something else that I was hoping that we would see and hear in this. And Corey, thank you for naming being seen and honored. Absolutely. I mean, how does it feel to know that you are honored, that you are loved by God, and that God has created a specific ministry to accompany you in the work that you are called to do? Okay, friends, so thank you for taking a minute to unpack and to center ourselves on this. And I hope that this theme carries with as you hear a little bit more about our ministry. And this might feel a little bit odd, but I'm going to invite you to think about something else before we go any further. I'd like you to begin thinking about something that you would like to do differently in your life or in your work right now, something that you might want to start or change, and it needs to be a real topic that is current and that is of high importance to you. So let some possible topics start floating through your mind as I continue with the presentation. And at the end, I promise you will see how that will come into play. Okay, so thumbs up if you're with me. You're letting your minds think? Okay, perfect, wonderful. All right, so it was just a year ago that I joined one of your gatherings in Milwaukee, and some of you may have been present at that gathering. And in that space in Milwaukee, I started by talking a little bit about the framework of our ministry and the fact that indeed it is about accompaniment. So I want to start with a little recap of this before we get into a little more of the meat of what coaching is and how that might connect with you and the work that you do. So as we mentioned, our ministry is grounded in relationship and the accompaniment of others. And because of this, it will likely not come as a surprise to learn that the guiding scripture for our ministry is actually the story of the road to Emmaus, which comes, of course, from Luke chapter 24. If we would have had more time with you, I would have used that fuller reading as our centering devotion for today. But friends, this is the opening devotion that we use for every basic skills coach training that we lead. And in unpacking that story with the class, we typically ask what shines for you from this reading and what do you hear that connects with coaching? And so just briefly, so you understand the fullness of why we've chosen this particular scripture as our guiding scripture for ministry, We want you to think about that story and understand that first and foremost, Jesus meets the disciples exactly where they're at on the road, right? And so you all, the ones of you that unpacked the reading from Isaiah, named that this is about accompaniment. And Jesus is literally walking alongside the disciples on the road and meeting them in the space that they are at. Next, we hear Jesus using the skills of deep listening and powerful questions. And in doing so, Jesus helps them name what they know to be true. The questions deepen their understanding of faith. Jesus' conversation helps them discover gifts that earlier had been hidden. Jesus helps them listen to what God might be asking them to do. And at the end of the story, they finally are able to name and take their next most faithful step. Their encounter with Jesus the coach leads them to expand their understanding of themselves, the situation that they're in, and spurs them to engage their gifts and take intentional steps toward a specific goal. And friends, in a nutshell, this is coaching. So Jesus the coach, maybe that's an image that you hadn't ever thought of before, but I encourage you to hold that. So with this scriptural framework in place, it's also important for you to know about our professional framing. So friends, all of the training and coaching we do is accredited by an external entity known as the International Coaching Federation. And this is known as the gold standard of coaching around the world. This means that we teach and coach to the competencies and standards and ethics of this entity. And this brings an important level of professionalism and consistency and quality to those that walk with our coaches. So what do we do in the ELCA in faith-based coaching? You might wonder, what does this type of coaching look like? Well, most of us are familiar with sports coaches, but there are some distinct differences in working with a leadership or a faith-based coach. So as Corey alluded to, first of all, that coach isn't going to tell you what to do. That's maybe one of the biggest surprises. And in its simplest form, the coaching that we do from this space helps you name specifically where you're at today. It also helps you name where God might be calling you to move next. And then the balance of the coaching conversation is meant to help you craft a plan for how you will get there that includes what resources you might need, who else needs to be involved, and what timeline you need to make it all happen. We do this by using the skills of deep listening and powerful questioning to help draw these things out of the person that we are accompanying. Because you see, friends, this means that we do not look at the people that we walk with as problems that need to be fixed. Instead, we believe that each individual is naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. So again, most people that are new to working with a coach are surprised to find that it's the person who's being coached that sets the goals for the coaching relationship and the agenda for each session. This type of coaching we are trained to do uses the skills, again, of deep listening and powerful questions to draw out new insights, name dreams, and think about what possible next steps need to be taken in order to get there. We recognize that you are the expert of your paradigm. And because of that, we know that you are capable of figuring a way forward. A lot of people find that a really refreshing perspective. So here are some situations where coaching is helpful. In conflict resolution, coaches equip leaders with conflict resolution techniques, which enables them to navigate difficult conversations and maintain harmonious relationships within their schools or congregations. Support in transition. During periods of transition or change, such as leadership, role shifts, or organizational adjustments, coaches will be there to listen to your story, to hear how it's affecting you, and to provide valuable support and guidance to help ensure a smooth transition process and that your health is maintained in the midst of all of it. Empowerment and confidence. Coaches empower leaders by building their self-confidence and self-awareness. This is sometimes a really hidden gift that coaching brings. So it's really important that we're naming this in this space. This empowerment positively impacts decision-making and the overall leadership approach. And friends, it really changes the ecology of the spaces that you walk in when you're working with a coach and you are feeling empowered and your self-confidence is built up. You just automatically start doing that same thing with those around you. So external perspective, coaches offer a really valuable external perspective that can provide fresh insight and unbiased feedback. This can help you as leaders overcome challenges and see opportunities that otherwise might have been hidden from your view. Goal setting and accountability. I heard some of you mention this in what you hoped to learn and get out of this time today. Coaches can assist you in being a leader in setting clear goals and holding them accountable in the progress that you're making with those that you work with. This is a repeatable template, friends, and this structured approach can help you all stay focused, motivated, and in the end results in more effective decision-making and goal attainment. And again, it changes the ecology of everything that you are doing and walking through. Coaching is important because it helps you access things you could not on your own. Conversations with a coach will enable you to unlock your gifts, troubleshoot obstacles, and harness all of your experience and talents to craft creative strategies for approaching your work and ministry. The questions a coach asks can help you access new perspectives and ideas that, again, you would not necessarily reach on your own. So when you work with a coach, here are some of the practical benefits that people name. And the amazing thing is, engaging with a coach starts to transform your own thinking, and you automatically begin doing these things with others as well. And in this respect, coaching has the capacity to bring lasting transformation. Especially in the time since 2020 and COVID, we have learned that coaching helps us overcome fear and insecurities. And coaching reminds us that change is possible, and this can reignite our hope. Likewise, coaching can help us move forward from confusion and chaos. And friends, coaching helps us get off that hamster wheel of just talking about it and enables us to take our next most faithful step. So if you are interested in looking at our website, I will just give a quick flash to where this is at. You can see this at elcacoaching.org. And Jason can put that in the link as well. And feel free to fish around on our website, especially looking at the videos and the introduction to coaching. We have lots of education and explanation about what to expect from coaching conversations. And so you might be wondering, how can I work with a coach? And so Jason, I'm cueing you. This is an opportunity that Corey has designed with our ministry for you to access coaching. So in your work and as a pastor or an education leader, you can go to this link and find out how you can connect with ELCA Coaching Ministry. You also may wonder, how might I train as a coach? And is that even possible for you? Is that even possible for you as an education leader? And that answer is yes. Even though right now, most of our trainings happen Monday through Friday during the 8 to 5 p.m. Workday. In the summer, if you have the opportunity to be off school, you can connect to one of those trainings. And if there is enough interest amongst the ELEA leaders, I will work with Corey to design an evening training that you can access. Because here's the thing, friends, 75% of the people that take our basic skills training do so just strictly in the area of leadership development. They intend to go on to use these skills in very informal ways, but to powerfully change how they walk as a leader. And all of this means that they don't have the intention of going on to be a professional coach and take contracts in coaching, so on and so forth. It really is taken, the basic skills are taken as a leadership development opportunity. And so that is the name of our training, segment 1, basic skills coach training. So again, we believe that working with a coach and using the posture of coaching can make a tremendous difference in all of our relationships and the work that we engage. And so as I end my part of the presentation, I leave you with these encouragements. Maybe, again, you will consider working with a coach. Maybe you'll consider signing up to take our basic skills class. Or maybe you want to try applying coaching to a project or an initiative that you're working on. And so again, connect with that link that Jason has in the chat that Corey has set up, or set a time with me. I will put my direct email in the chat and we can talk about what that might look like. And so with that, I hand the baton to my partner, Jason, for the next part of our presentation.
Thank you, Jill. Yeah, so that slide she showed toward the beginning about having you think about a topic or something that is real and high importance and something you might like support in. Curious if anyone is feeling brave enough to do a mini coaching session with me right now, off the cuff, just to see if you can get movement in some area or a step or a learning around something you are struggling with, or maybe it's keeping you awake at night. Maybe I'll say this too, Corey, if this is allowed. I know this is being recorded. If by chance this is something more personal and you don't want that, projected or saved into all perpetuity, is that the right word? I think Corey would be willing to edit this part out if you want still a coaching session. Yeah, I see a thumbs up from her. So we can edit this part out if it feels a little more personal and you still would like that for today.
I'll give it a try.
Okay, thank you, Linda.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, Jill, what, about 15 to 20 minutes at most? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to have opportunity to unpack this and for people to ask questions about any part of the presentation.
Beautiful. I'm gonna see if I can spotlight Linda and myself. I don't know if I can do myself or not. I can. Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Linda, for being brave and saying yes.
Did you just ask me a question? I'm sorry.
No, I just said thank you for being brave and saying yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So is there something top of mind that might be helpful to unpack a little bit today?
Well, the reason I get all the ELEA information, and so working as the administrator, I try to tell our staff what's available and encourage them, but everybody's really busy, so I came on instead. Mm-hmm. And it's really directed towards the pastor and towards the staff or the directors, the preschool directors and the school director. So I thought, okay, I'll go on and I'll give them some resource information. But I really like the idea of the coaching and leadership, and because I do play a vital role in leadership here, kind of helping to run things smoothly and to make sure that we have everything going on. So that's it.
Okay. So you're wanting to, or maybe I hear you just wondering about coaching in your role. Is that what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have questions about that, or?
I think I do it anyway in some ways. It just sounds kind of, I think coaching is nice. So, because I've been here as the administrator for the church for like 28 years. And so, everything has changed. Dynamics has changed. We've added the school, and then going, I think the hardest part is conflict resolution or looking at, okay, getting somebody new in and then working with them on how we're going to do things, or even losing staff to retirement and how is it going to be done now, and pretty much we do things the same way, but then we also have to look at changing things too, so that it will, things will run smoother, or,
Okay.
just change. I don't,
So am I hearing maybe just dreaming a little bit how coaching can support each of these vital parts?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. Well, I heard you name transitions as one of them. What else is coming to mind that feel like could support you in all of these areas of your work?
Oh, let's see. I like to be able to help with resources if somebody needs something. Also, let's see. I know it's important to have ministries or things for the families of the kids that go here. That type of support too. In Christian education, and inviting the families to come to church. A lot of them are so busy they can't do it. So how do you interface with that and make sure that they want to come, or just open it up to having different things for people to want to come to.
Yeah,
to learn about God.
What difference do you think that would make in the lives of those families?
Well, I think the school, the preschool and the school, it does make a big difference, a big impact in the lives of the kids, because it's they learn about God, they learn about being kind to others, and what would God do, and they go to chapel, and so as they go into middle school and high school, I think it helps to prepare them for that. And then also if there's any family issues going on, and there's support there too for them. So it's almost like a family in some ways.
Yeah, I hear that. What support might you need in that resource area?
What support would I need? I guess for the maybe the staff to go along with it, or whatever. Yeah,
like staff buy-in?
What's that?
Are you saying like staff buy-in?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And promoting it, things like that, and supporting it, helping to support it.
Yeah.
Whatever that might be. I'm just not sure. I'm kind of brainstorming.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right. Well, would it be helpful to dig further into like this one resource area, or would you want to go more broad and thinking about sort of coaching in general and how it might support you and your specific context?
I think more broad.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what else do you see as maybe trouble areas or things that maybe just aren't your strengths that would be helpful to?
I'm not sure.
Kind of calling you out in public here. Yeah. What are your weaknesses, Linda? Tell us all.
Yeah. I'm really not sure. I'm not a member of the church. I'm in my position is that I'm not a member, because I act as liaison between the congregation and the congregation, and actually I'm not sure what that means. I guess I don't get jumped on a Sunday, during the Sunday, because I'm here during the week to do things. But I'm really not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I know there's always things that we can address. Yeah.
Sure. You'll probably call to the 3 meetings later, right?
Like right now, what I'm working on is safety safety committee, safety team things for the security of the church and school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a security team and we're all putting things together. And then, you know, I passed out handbooks, you know, a draft to everybody and said, okay, so put in your, I want you to write in what you would like, you know, in there. But then they come back with questions to me. Are we going to do this? I go, this is it. So put in your changes. You know, that kind of communication stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just write it.
I wonder if what Jill referenced earlier, you know, like what team or group coach might be helpful, like with that committee, for example, if there's a lot of unknowns, or if everyone has their parts that they want to throw in and suddenly it's this, you know, 90-page manual and you only need it to be a focus.
Yeah, I think the most difficult part is making sure that we have it all down, because we did have a thing where we had not a lockdown, but a shelter in place.
Mm-hmm.
And there's helicopters flying around. So we had to, you know, fortunately the pastor was here, but some of the parents got scared because their kids were saying it was a lockdown, you know, so there was just a whole miscommunication of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, we need to really get this in place and make sure everybody's on the same page with what we have going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have a lot of volunteers that I work with, and then also staff. And our staff is probably like everybody else. You know, we're short. You know, we're real tight, and there's a lot of time restrictions with our staff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because like this week, for example, we've got a lot of people out who are sick, and kids are out sick, staff is out sick, you know, so we're, you know, staff can't always be where they need to be, you know, for a meeting or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as far as a group, we're going to have a meeting next Tuesday, and our director of the school and the director of the preschool is going to try to pop in. They said unless there's some kind of an emergency that they can't come there, but anyway, so they'll be here with our volunteers.
Okay.
To kind of nail that down.
Yeah. So at least a step in that direction.
Yes. Yes.
Nice. What else are you working on? Maybe that's the place to start.
What else am I working on? Oh, let's see. Actually, I work with a lot of volunteers who do things, and so just to make sure that they get done, and if there's an issue, and make sure that, you know, scheduling for the welcome desk to make sure that there's somebody there. That's really all we have going on.
Okay. So I'll reflect back for a second. So
Okay.
I heard around transitions, around resources, possibly around the safety team, or committee.
Yes. We have had actually, I think I've been here quite a while, but the so I'm familiar with a lot of the details and the functions of the church and things like that. We've had we have a new pastor, but I mean, I say new pastor, but he's been here for 7 years. He just went on sabbatical this summer, and now he's back. And so that was a big change going through that. And before that, we had the school added on. So that was a huge change. You know, people want different things, and where are you going to store things, you know, all that stuff. That was huge. We lost half the church on that because there's a big breakup. And then after that, it was just getting the school started. And so recently, my co-partner who did bulletins and things like that, she retired last year. So we had to hire a new media person, a communications director. And so, you know, just different thinking about, okay, you know, how is this going to pan out? It was really hard to get a person because we only offer so many hours per week, and you know, to make it fit. And so we have this person on staff, but is working remotely from home mainly. And so it's just changing the way we process it. So for myself, I had to step back and say, okay, I am willing to, whatever we make changes, we need to just, I need to let that happen, because I'm probably at retirement age, who I plan to be here, probably 4 more years or so. And so for me, it's just making sure that things are functioning and people understand how to run things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to step back too for that.
Yeah, so I'm hearing a couple of things out of that, Linda. One, you empowering others.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if maybe a grief coach in another area, as far as you name some big changes that have happened, as well as some things that are going to be happening in the next, few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
As well as your own retirement. So, like sort of planning about like, how do you end well?
Right. That's great. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So just noticing we're almost at time. Do you want to reflect back anything, or what would be helpful as far as us sort of wrapping this up today?
No, you can wrap it up.
I'll see if I remember it all.
That's okay. You don't have to.
Okay. Well, then we'll invite everyone back. Thank you for your time today.
Okay.
So Jason and Linda, thank you for that coaching. So in these last few minutes, I would like to offer a time to reflect on what we just saw with this coaching, and then we'll move to a time for additional questions about anything that you experienced in the ministry, what we can clarify for you, or how we can help the rest of you take some next most faithful steps. So I'll start by asking Linda. Linda, what surprised you about this coaching conversation with Jason?
Nothing. Yeah, I thought it was a good conversation. He had some good insight, as far as, we have been through a lot. I think, it's just the life of the church and how just kind of, changes and people coming in and going, and how we have to deal with that.
So what is a new inspiration or a new perspective that you are taking away from these few minutes that you've been coached by Jason?
I think ending well and mentoring other people to take on, so that there's not this huge gap.
So friends, just to play out what this could look like if Jason and Linda were connected in a coaching relationship, those two things that she just named could be future topics that would come to the coaching table, and they would then take a deeper dive into those topics and get really concrete on, okay, Linda, in your mind, what would the ideal situation be to end well, for instance, and help her get really clear about what that looks like. And then from there, take a deeper dive into, okay, so what needs to be in place for that to happen? What resources do you need? Who else needs to be a part of the conversation? How are you telling this story to the people that you're working with? And some really powerful questions to make sure that Linda has looked at not only all the aspects that she's thought of, but sometimes the coach brings a surprising question to the table and makes the leader that they're walking with go, oh, I never thought of that. And then hopefully they, at the end, are feeling like the goal that they're reaching is really full and complete, and maybe even broader and grander than they would have been able to dream of on their own. Yeah. So Deb, Jason, Jen, and welcome Tammy to the space. What other things did you witness in this coaching conversation?
Are you asking me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, any of you. Any of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would just say I was really, it's Jason, sorry. I just the other Jason, not Coach Jason. I noticed, I really liked how Jason kind of was deeply listening and was able to kind of bring out these different goals, like as you were describing, that could spawn off from there. Like I really liked how Linda was sort of able to process some of the things that were going on in her situation and not come necessarily into the coaching session with like this exact, like here's the deliverable that I want to bring out of this meeting, but kind of walk alongside that accompaniment model and coax out things and areas where, I don't want to say improvement, but areas for growth, and areas that she can be focusing on in her ministry context. I really was impressed with that.
Great insights. Thank you, Pastor Jason. What's another insight that you're walking away with from watching this brief coaching demo?
For me, that it doesn't, you'll often think of coaching as a last resort, like we have exhausted all resources and this is that Hail Mary, we're gonna fix this. But it doesn't have to, like, you don't have to use coaching for these giant big problems or wait until something is a giant big problem. You can start with smaller problems and build that foundation of that coaching is not a last resort. Like it should almost be a first resort. Like let's bring in that outside person to hear, because we all do it, whether we mean to or not, get that tunnel vision of I see my problem and I need to fix my problem. But well, maybe somebody else over here sees something we're missing or can help us make those hard decisions that, we struggle to make sometimes. So I think just that it doesn't have to be huge problems. It can be just a small thing, or, that it's not, coaching is not a scary thing.
Absolutely. So Jen, you are bringing up just a really vital aspect and belief about coaching is that, again, we don't believe that anyone that we're walking with is something that needs to be fixed. Coaching does not come out of a deficit posture. The other reality is that we often are called in as a last resort, or when the Hail Mary needs to be thrown. And I think that people are often really surprised about what we can help accomplish, even in those situations, even when, for instance, a congregation is closing. And what does it look like to close well, to close with a resurrection theme, right? And we look at all of the people that we walk with as beloved of God, as being specifically gifted by God, and that right now in this moment, no matter what's going on, no matter what the circumstances say, we believe fully that they are being invited by God to use their good gifts to partner with God in God's good work of loving and healing the world. And our job in the crucible of coaching is to help them name and figure out what that looks like. Welcome to the space, Hector. Great to see you. Not
One
only
thing
is
that,
go ahead.
One
Go,
thing
Linda.
that Jen had said about the church and the preschool merging together, working on that. That's one thing we have been doing, and for the past maybe 2 years is working on that. And at first it was really hard, but then we also had well, I guess with the pandemic that our preschool director retired, and so we didn't replace the preschool director for a year, and so now the preschool, we have a preschool director. So but everything was kind of separate. Our preschool was out out in a portable, and then just making sure that the church and the school, they were under the same church, but they were their own entity. But now it's merged together where we're all together and we're like under the same bank account, and just working together as church and school so that it's like one.
Wow. And so the paradigm that Linda just named is a perfect space where coaching can come in and accompany and help that merger go as smoothly as possible. We have coaches that have done special training in mergers like that. Just so you know.
Yeah, because I know the staff in the church, we felt like they were being included, but they didn't feel like they were being included.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So friends, what else did you either witness in the coaching conversation betwixt Linda and Jason, or what other questions do you have about coaching ministry and how that tool and skill might come alongside you as a leader or the work that you do?
If I may, Jill, I came late and I'm sorry. And actually, I'm going to a meeting with the directors of the preschool and the childcare that we have here because we are working on how to start working together. We are under the same 501c3, but they have their own way to administer their budgets, and there has never been really an oversight of their budgets. Thanks be to God, there has never been a problem, but it's time to start really talking about that, how collaborate and how we can de-silo ourselves and start working together. But what I wanted to say with this is that one of the things that I heard that you were saying, Jen, regarding coaching and the role of coaching, one of the ways that we have been talking about coaching in the congregation is how to create a culture of coaching in the congregation, how the principles of coaching actually help, not only until we have a project or a situation that we need coaching, but that coaching becomes part of the natural and normal pathways of being disciples of Jesus in coaching each other. How everyone has ears to coach each other, not in a professional way, but by listening and asking the questions that help us to move forward in our ministries. We have been trying to implement that. It has been a challenge because sometimes the word coaching kind of freaks some people out, but we have been trying to understand that it's more of an accompaniment and how coaching can help us to do that. So that has been a way that, at least in coaching, how I see it, that coaching can have kind of different levels among laity and members of the congregation, among staff, and also professional coaches that can help us in specific projects when we want for a specific project somebody who guide us. So that's when you were talking, just the last part that I catch from it that we were saying kind of remind me those things, and I wanted to share with you.
Hector, thank you so much for naming again another gift of coaching and how that can change the culture and just one of empowerment and helping one another name and see the gifts in one another and encourage them to be using those gifts again in God's good work of loving and healing the world. Think, friends, for a minute, what the world would be like if every person believed that they were beloved of God, right? And that they had gifts that were being needed in the world and invited to share. I just think that we would be seeing a very different world. And just think about how that can impact your community. So as we are coming up on the last minute, I want to name something that exciting that I hope to be able to release in 2024. One of our credentialed coaches is working on a curriculum that is meant just for what Hector named. It's to be delivering the skill of coaching in a way that is to empower others to use this skill in informal ways. It is not intended to make people professional coaches at the end of this training, but just changing how you are walking around and being in relationship with one another. So perhaps one of you and one of your communities would want to test drive this curriculum when it's ready to be released. So stay in touch with me if you're interested in that. And friends, any last minute questions or comments that you would like to make as we are ending today?
Just say thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hector. Thank you, friends, for your time and attention. Jason, thank you so much for being in the coaching space. And Linda, well done you for being so brave and bringing your coaching topic to the table for us today. Thank you for that. Now, Corey, thanks for having us today.
Yes, thank you so much. And I heard so many great pieces of what people are looking for and how that relates to the coaching. And I think there's definitely a need for what you're bringing forth in 2024, and for more people to be able to have some of that training to be able to provide coaching to their staff, and just have that come from that lens when they're working with their groups of people. I like to hear how many people are working on church and school together in ministry. That is so very, very important. And you're all taking such a proactive step in that right now. Know that the ELEA is here to support you. And, you know, part of our goal is to partner with thought leaders and partner with you know, other related organizations like the ELCA Coaching Network to bring you the tools to equip you to be the very best leaders you can be, and provide that Lutheran education to your community. So thank you, everybody. The recording will be available. We'll kind of put together all the resources that we talked about as well, and those will be available, and I will send a follow-up email to all of you with that information. So peace to all of you. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to be in this space with you again today.